Hi, I'm Debbie from Simply Special Crafts. Today we're going to talk about the fourth Little Book of Christmas. I get lots and lots of questions about the Little Books. People recognize that they're a great value, but they don't necessarily know what to do with them. So today we're going to dedicate an entire video to just taking a look at the Little Book pages and what you can do with them. If you enjoy our videos on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And when you subscribe, there's a little bell icon behind the subscribe button. If you'd like to be notified when a new video is posted, just click that little bell. Let's get started. First, we're going to take a little tour through the fourth Little Book of Christmas. Now, what I need to start with is that this is the little book that's made to go with the 2018 Craftaganza kit, which means that this will have a variety of images from each of the four kits that makes up Craftaganza. Now, as with all little books, or most little books, this has 144 pages, which is made up of 24 images, and you get 6 of each image. Let's just take a look at what you get in this one. I've used lots of pages, so I have to kind of flip here to see which ones. You seeing those okay without too much glare, honey?
Yeah.
Oops, loose page. This was a really popular Christmas kit. And if it's sold out, this is a great way to go ahead and still get those images. 12 Days of Christmas here. This was a really busy one I found challenging, but I think you'll like what we did with it. As is the doors. It's a very busy image, but wait till you see what we did with it. I'm pretty pleased with it, how it came out. Nativity scene in bright, unusual colors. Adorable angel with her teddy. Here's Santa and the reindeer. More loose pages, another nativity scene. My book has been very, very well used, and yet, after all the cards you're going to see, I still have all these pages left. Look at that beautiful angel. I think she's just stunning. One of my favorite images of all the Craftaganza kits this year was that dog on the sofa with the reindeer pillow. That just touches me. I love that one. There's Santa checking his list. Beautiful poinsettias. I really love that image too. The city scene, a little hot chocolate on a snowy shopping day. Another city scene. I love the llama. I'll wait till you see what we did with the llama. He is so cute. The 3 wise men. The fox in the forest, this little friend, the mouse. Here's that kids pageant that I liked so much from the classic Christmas. It's really fun. I love these little animal characters. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. My daughter loved what I did with this one. Wait till you see that. And there's one more here. Yeah, that beautiful Christmas tree. I think I hit them all, but if I missed any, we'll catch them when we look at the cards. Lots and lots of images. Now, these little books are available in both this size, which is the A6. They're also available in the new 5x5 style, which is perfect for making either square cards or 5x7 cards with some borders to them. And we have an amazing selection of little books. We have over 60 titles in stock right now today. And corresponding with the release of this video, for a limited time, we're going to do a super special on these little books for you. So look for that newsletter. If you're not already subscribed to the newsletter, be sure you sign up for the newsletter because you don't want to miss this sale. Okay, here's our gold and silver Mary. I use lots of this A6 Mary. It's perfect because the little book pages are already pre-sized to allow a nice border around the A6 cards. You don't have to cut or measure anything. The border's already done for you. So the A6 Mary is great with the little books. Now I also, for the first time ever, I used the pages that were included free in the Craftaganza magazine. Those of you who bought the full Craftaganza set got this magazine for free, and it included 8 double-sided papers, which I have used throughout these cards that we're making. I'll try and point them out when I go through those. If you didn't get the magazine already, the magazine is also sold separately, but it's also sold free with the Craftaganza kit. So we use the pages out of the magazine. This is something new I'm also really excited about. We just got in these cardstock pads from Peterson Arn. It's in a brand called Paper Accents, and I used these quite liberally in our videos. I'll tell you why. They're already pre-cut to a 5x7. They matched beautifully with the images in the little book, and it was just great fun to put these directly down on my card and then start building from there. So I used quite a few of these. We used lots of the trim me inserts in both gold and silver. In fact, all of the cards that you're seeing have these inserts in them. And as you know, for those of you who've watched our videos before, the special thing about the trim me papers is that they have cutting lines on the back that already guide you through cutting your insert to the right size. There's no measuring or figuring to try and get your message centered. Just use the guidelines on the back, trim the papers down. You still may need to trim them a little bit one way or another depending on which way, what size cards you're using, but it's a great start and a real time saver to use the cutting lines on the back. Of course, we used adhesives. I used foam squares, and I used a mixture of 2mm and 3mm foam squares. We have both in the store now. These happen to be the 3s, and you can see that these are a little thicker than the ones I use sometimes. If I'm only putting down 2 or 3 layers, it's nice to have an extra thick foam square to assemble my layers. Of course, I used my finger lift tape. I love this stuff. Those of you who watch our videos again know that finger lift tape is my absolute favorite, and the reason for that is that you get a 1/4 inch of adhesive on a 1/2 inch piece of paper, making it easy to lay down and peel this tape up. You don't spend all day picking at the tape trying to get your adhesive exposed. And I used my little glue bottles. We have these in the store for just $2 a piece. These little mini glue bottles are perfect, and I use Cosmic Shimmer or Tattered Lace glue in those. I used lots of cutting dies. I'm going to show you an overwhelming stack of cutting dies. Remember, you don't have to buy all these. I'm trying to give you ideas about rating your own supply and finding what you can do that will do some of the same things. First one I'll show you is this little tiny Christmas tidings and shadows. This is a great one. You're going to see this one again when we do the filigree frames, which will be one of our next collections coming up. I've used this as kind of my featured die set on there. So I used it a little bit in this one too. We used this in the Christmas Dreams video that we just did, and we used it very liberally with this kit again. It was a perfect size for these little book pages. I used several dies off my shelf. I used the Christmas, what's this one called? This one's called the Stunning Snowflakes frame set from Hunkydory. I used this Framed with Love. Now my understanding is this one is now retired, but some of you are going to have this in your collection, so pull that out. I use this poinsettia frame. It's called Festive Foliage, and this also is a Hunkydory set. We have quite a few of these in stock. There's new Moonstone cutting dies. I just want to show you just a quick sample of some other ones that we have available in the store that might be good choices for you for little book pages. We've got this Framed and Fabulous. This is actually made for the little topper decks, but many of these toppers can be cut down to this size, and they make this is a perfect size for being able to make like an A2 card, the little US 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Here's another one. This one's called Snowflake Swirls and Festive Frames. Here's a perfect one for the square little books. Look at this beautiful frame that's available. The Deck the Halls Fabulous frames. And we just got these in, and I'm totally wild about these snowflakes. Of course, we got them right after I'm finished with most of my Christmas cards, but it's hopefully not too late for you. Look at these beautiful, charming snowflakes. You can use these individually, you can layer these. These are by Hunkydory, so you know they're beautiful, and they are just perfect for use on your cards. We have everything from very small ones up to great big ones. Like I said, use them individually, layer them, they're marvelous. And we have quite a few of them in stock. So look at those beautiful dice. And as we have in the other Craftiganzas, once again, I have made great use of the center step card from this Tattered Lace set. I totally love these mini card dice. I think they're called mini card shapes. And you get the full set of center step, you get the full set that goes with the mini side step. And I used these extensively once again, which will be of no surprise to you who have been watching our video this year. This is a retired die set. At the time of this video, we still have supplies remaining, but don't wait too long on this one. Tattered Lace has retired this set, so I don't know how long I'm going to have them, but I still have them at this point. I used a little bit of my Snowfall acetate, and I'll show you how I used that. I had Brittany bring these in. Oops, I used my Black Mary from Hunkydory, but I had Brittany bring these in to show you because we got something new I'm really excited about, and I used a little bit of it on this, but you can bet I'm going to be using this extensively. Look at all these beautiful new colors we have in Mary. These are not Hunkydory, these are from Tonic Studios. It's part of the Tonic Studios Nouveau brand. All these beautiful colors of mirror board, they're in 5-sheet packs, and they sell for $3.49 for a 5-sheet pack, which is amazingly great deal. These will sell out fast, but if you like them, grab the colors you like. We'll try and keep them in stock, but they've been very, very popular, and I had to wait to get enough to even tell you I had them. So we have about 24 packs of each right now. They will not last, but for as long as they do, they are a great deal. Grab those, they're great fun. And yes, I have used them, and they're just equal quality to the Hunkydory. So super fun to get a great deal on those. I use tons of stickers. I'll identify all of these and put some links in for you. Again, look at your sticker collection and see what you already have that will match. You'll also notice that there are a few that I tend to use from video to video to video. Those are good ones to actually snag and put in your collection. Let's take a look at some of those. This is from Duty. It's called Pearl stickers. They're called pearls because of the little open holes in them. And they have the little filled in dot and then a little chain. These are wonderful stickers for your borders and corners. They have little pre-cut corners, and I used them in some of the other Craftiganzas. I used them again. My jewel dazzles, love jewel dazzles. I used red, purple, gold, silver. Borders and corners, we have probably 50 choices in borders and corners. This is one of my frequently used ones. This is 1033 from Starform. We also have them from Finded Trading and Duty and several other companies that are equally beautiful. This one happens to be one of my go-tos. This one, I'm not even sure this is still available in the store, but I was grabbing something last night to finish up a last-minute card, and I grabbed this one. This is Dazzle's 2056, and I liked it because it had love, peace, and a pretty piece on it that I used in one of my nativity cards. These are the borders that we just brought back in from Dazzle's. These were the special order Dazzles that we just brought in. These are selling like hotcakes, but at the time of this video we still have these in stock, so grab those. That's a limited quantity on those. These Merry Christmas in gold and silver are also special print dazzles, and once again they're selling like hotcakes. Grab them while you can, but they're fabulous. We have these, which were also special print dazzles. All these last 6 stickers we talked about are all retired dazzles, but we made a deal with Hot Off the Press, and she made a special order for me of these beautiful. This one's the various Christmas greetings. It's beautiful. It's got Noel and joy and peace and blessings to from Merry Christmas. Lots of great things on it. This is the Sticker King sticker. We gave away one of these. We gave away these stickers among others last Christmas, so you may already have this in your stash. And you can see I used quite a few of those in this kit. More borders and corners from Starform. Here is the mini Christmas greetings from Starform. Sometimes you just want that little tiny Christmas greeting in. You'll notice on this sheet also, see here where I've changed the color? Look at that beautiful, I hope it shows on camera, that beautiful light blue that I've changed that to just using an alcohol pen. That's the beautiful thing about the silver, is you can often change the colors to match the scheme in your card. So those are some of the many stickers that we used. I'll link to those in the newsletter for newsletter subscribers. I told you in my last newsletter that we had just brought in flower foam. No, not flower foam, Flower Soft. We have flower foam also, but this is Flower Soft. It's little granules of color that you can drop on and add dimension to your cards. And I used these 3 colors in my cards. I'll link to those. I used some Distress ink. I used the satin ribbons, and I'm excited to tell you we just added another 12 colors in our satin ribbon. We have the most beautiful collection of satin ribbons in our store, and they're so affordably priced. I believe they are, don't quote me, but somewhere in the area of $5.99 for 25 yards of the satin ribbon. We were in that same general price range for 50 yards of the organza. We just have beautiful ribbon collections at just fabulous pricing, and this is good stuff. It's beautiful. I'm really excited to tell you about this too. I love, those who watch our videos know that I love crepe ribbon. It's so lightweight, it ties beautifully, and yet it adds very little weight or bulk to your card. We used to get this from Hot Off the Press, and I was afraid that it was gone forever, but we were able to contact the distributor. We got both of the collections that we've had in the past and a new collection of the crepe ribbon. So we have you covered for crepe ribbon. We have a total of 31 colors in this beautiful, fabulous ribbon. This is hard to find, and you can find it here. I used lots of rhinestones, pearls, and other accents. I used my basic supplies, of course my long scissors, my detail scissors. This is one of about 3 paper cutters that I use really regularly. We'll link to our paper cutters. And I use my die cutting machine. This is the one that I've been using the most lately. This is the Cut and Go Pro from Art Deco. It's actually, Art Deco is also Couture Creations and Ultimate Crafts. And I use that together with my Go Press foil machine. I'll do a separate demo for you in the near future on this, but the basic gist of this is that this is like a hot plate in your kitchen. You get this hot, this table, you put your hot foil plate on it, you let that get warm, then you put the item that you want to have foiled. You wouldn't put it in the plastic, of course, but you put the item you want, you put your foil down, sorry. You put your foil down, you put the item that you want to foil on top, you close it up, you let that get hot, then you pop this out, and you run it right through either this machine or the machine of your choice. This little thing will go through a variety of different machines, but I've done some hot foiling in these that I have not done before, and I thought I would show you basically what equipment was involved in that. We've got the hot foil, we've got the plates, we've got the machines, we've got the rolls of foil. They come in these nice long rolls, and you use just what you need, and you can use every square inch of it as you do with your regular foils that we've talked about before. You can even foil, and I'm going to show you this, you can even foil on chipboard, and I did a special project using this chipboard set that I'm anxious to show you. So that's it for the supplies list. Wow! But again, you don't have to buy all these things. Look at your stash and see what you can use that you already have, and then supplement with some of these ideas. But I'll send you the links if you're looking for a specific product and you're signed up for the newsletter. I'm going to send you a newsletter that has links to all these products that I've just shown you. Let's get started looking at some cards. Okay. So what we're going to do here is, as I indicated to you, there's 24 different images in the book. Some I made one, some I made as many as 3 and even 4 cards from. So we're just going to quickly go through. I'm going to show you the cards that I made and tell you about the techniques used. There's about 6 or 7 different techniques used to make the cards that I'm going to show you over the next few minutes, and we'll probably have more than 50 cards and 6 or 7 techniques, so you're going to see a variety of different styles here. This card was cut out of black mirror board. Some of you have asked, can you make a card base in Mary? And I think the answer is yes. It stands up just nicely, and as long as you crease these down well, it'll support the weight of a lightweight topper, which is nice because these little book pages are just printed on 150 GSM paper. It's lightweight paper. So I took my image, I split it, I put my main image of the Nativity on this one, and glittered the star. Then I added a jewel dazzle to the center of that. I cut a 3/4 inch strip that included some shepherds, and the same thing over here, my shepherds, as if they're headed up to the Nativity. I added the word peace, love, and a little flourish at the bottom. It just didn't need anything else, and what a pretty striking card that made. This is about including glitter, 5-minute card. This one took a little longer. This one of the things I've mentioned to you about little books before is that because they give you 6 of an image, you can cut out your own layers and do your own custom decoupage work, which is exactly what I did on this one. I used one of those pages from the Peterson Arn cardstock book, and it was already pre-cut to 5x7. I just put it on my 5x7 card. I used one of those pre-cut Mary mats and a A6 Mary page out of the little book. I added my Merry Christmas greeting up here, and then I took 2 more little book pages and I cut myself some layers. In this first layer I took just the teddy bear, the arm, and the wing. I glittered those. And the next one I took the full teddy bear, the full angel, her full wing, and I glittered that, let those dry, and then I popped them up on some foam squares and made a 3D image. And how beautiful did that turn out? And again, the cutting took a little while, but it's actually fairly simple cut. If you look at the lines, it was fairly simple cutting job. I didn't do the little bird. Why? Because he was very detailed. I wasn't into that kind of detail. So I just used the basic outline of the shape, and it didn't take me too long. But how cute did that turn out? My Christmas blessings from my trim inserts, done. Okay, here is the first of our cards using that, what's it called, Christmas Dreams snowflake set. And I've used the Christmas Dreams frame here. Then I used one of the little mats. They have the little cutting mats in there also, and I cut my little book page with that. Here's my Jewel dazzles. I use purple jewel dazzles in the centers of all my snowflakes. I just used a little border sticker, put some more purple jewel dazzles on there. This is on a 5x5 card. I cut myself a little piece of purple cardstock. I left white around the edges because I thought with all the light in this one that would look pretty, and it did. So I just left part of my white showing, added my trimmy insert, done. Here's that Santa image that I told you has been so popular. Now on this one, I have used my foiling machine with that. This is called the Classic Frame. It's CO725297. It's from Anna Griffin. I heated my plate. I put my foil down. I put my little book page right on top of that. I let that get hot. I ran it through my machine. I peeled it off, and now I have this beautiful frame on my little book page. I cut around that frame. I put it onto, this happens to be an A2 card, a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I covered my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 in gold mirror board. I put that frame on top of there, tied myself a simple organza bow. Now look at that bow. It's beautiful, it's full, it's pretty, and it adds absolutely no bulk or weight to that card. And on the inside, have a magical festive season. It sounds involved. It's actually a fairly quick process once you make the investment in the tools to do that foiling. We'll see many more. Okay, here's one of those bows that I taught you to tie when we were looking at the toy shop card kit in, I think that's the Snow is Falling kit, the little toy shop. And here's that triple bow. Now this is one I said was a really busy background, and I looked at that and looked at that and thought, what am I going to do with that that's just not overwhelming? Well, here's a 5x7 card. I cut a piece of that double-sided paper out of my magazine because it matched the colors in the insert so well. So I cut that a little bit smaller to allow my gold border to show. I put my topper up on a Mary mat and just used the whole page. I tied my bow, wrapping the ends around the back and securing them behind this piece. And then this is one of the pieces of chipboard out of my chipboard kit. I put that down on my hot plate. I let it get hot. I put a piece of foil over it. I ran that through my die cutting machine, and that foil transferred right over to my little piece. This is just a plain old brown or light brown piece of chipboard. And then I put a piece of mirror board behind it to create my package. And how pretty does that look suspended from my little bow? And so simple, but it was a great way to use that super busy topper. Here's another one I did the same way. I'm so excited about this one. This was great fun. This is another piece of chipboard, another chipboard set we have. It actually doesn't come off that same sheet. I'll put it on the supplies list, but we have these available in the store. This was actually intended to be just kind of it didn't say it was a wreath, but that's how I used it. I ran it through my foiling machine and made it gold. I put little berries on it and red jewel dazzles. I backed it with a piece of green paper, and I turned that dull brown piece of chipboard into a pretty wreath, tied a little tiny organza bow for it, put on the word greetings. This card here, this is an A6 card, and this was covered using that brand new mirror board from Nouveau. Isn't that a beautiful rich red? Lined it. Done. But how cute is that? That's a piece of chipboard. Now been foiled. It's beautiful. Okay, here's a 5x7 card I made using that pageant I just love that. This image just doesn't need a lot of extra because it's just so charming. Look at that camel. That camel just cracks me up, and the little girl suspended from a wire on the ceiling. I just added my Merry Christmas. This is on a piece, this is on a Merry Mat. I didn't cut it down, it's just on a Merry Mat, so you can see what size a Merry Mat is against a 5x7 card. It left just enough room for a piece of that double-sided paper out of my magazine, and my 5x7 card was covered with a piece of gold. So obviously I trimmed this double-sided paper just small enough to allow the gold to show. Tied a pretty little organza bow. This is the die out of that the tiny trims die set. I said that I'll be using really liberally with the filigree frames kit that's coming up in one of our next videos. And then in this one, I cut the star itself out of gold, and then I really wanted it to show up as the star. So I lined that with I put some Rainbow Mary behind that, just cut out around it to just really make that star gleam. And I love the way this card turned out. So, so cute. Have a fun-filled Christmas. Okay, here's another one of the images that I thought was fairly busy. This is an A6 card. I covered my A6 card with a piece of silver mirror board. And I just didn't want to do a lot to it because the image itself was already really busy. So I tied myself one of those little triple bows out of my out of my crepe ribbon. And I think I may have said that was organza a minute ago. This one was satin, all the others have been crepe so far. But I tied myself I take it back. No, that's crepe. That's crepe ribbon. And lined it. That's all I did. I added the image to the sheet and added a bow to it. It just didn't need more than that because the image itself was pretty busy. Next up, we have another one of my center stepper cards. And the center stepper, I found that Christmas Dreams frame worked really well on the center piece of that. So I could just cut my frame, cut my image out of my out of my little book page and put it in the center of that. Then I added, these are the jewel borders, not jewel borders, these are the silver borders on that reprint silver borders from hot off the press. Added a mini Merry Christmas down here, and I added just a little thin line dazzle across here to kind of separate the solid from the pattern. And I just didn't think it needed any more than that. I thought it was really cute just like that. Now, here's a good opportunity for comparison. Here's the same image that's done using the foiled background. I've used an A6 card. I covered that A6 card in some purple cardstock. It's just regular cardstock. I used a Small Season's Greetings. I used my foiled, using the same process we've talked about before. I foiled this little book page. I put a Merry Mat behind that and trimmed it off to fit inside my card. I'll tell you a little secret about some of these because I was learning to use the foil. In some cases, my edges on my foil didn't turn out. I wasn't matting it or shimming it quite enough, and my foil edges didn't turn out quite as well as I wanted. I found that I could actually trim right around that, put Mary behind it, and you couldn't tell that I didn't intend it to be smaller. But it's nice to know that you can cut those down and they still look great. Here's one of my triple bows. This is tied out of her gorgeous satin ribbon. Look at that shine you get in that satin ribbon. Beautiful. Have a fun-filled Christmas. So there's a second one. I told you I had as many as 4. Here's one. I love this little boy. Can you tell? Here's one I've done using the snowy frame from the Moonstone dies at Hunkydory. I just put my image right behind there. glued my frame on, added my little Merry Christmas off my Sticker King sheet. I added some little silver jewel dazzles to the centers of my snowflakes. And then I propped that up on some foam squares. And I covered my card with a piece of the double-sided paper out of my magazine. Didn't that turn out spectacularly? A little tiny organza bow. Here's yet another one. This is a different frame, but look at the difference in character you can get with just a different color theme and the same image. So you might be saying to yourself, why would I want 6 of a kind? Because you can do something different with all 6 if you want to. Or if you want to make a production line of it, you can quickly go through and make 6 of the same. I tried to make a variety of images for you, but it would have been really quick to go through and just do a bunch of the same ones. So here's my frame. I've glued that to my little book page. I trim around my little book then. I add that to a mirror mat. This was a leftover piece of cardstock that I had from one of my kids, so I already had that lavender and white background. I added a little piece of lace to one side, Season's Greetings up here, and I put that all on a card that had been covered in a leftover piece of purple cardstock. This is that little crepe. This is a crepe bow. I've added some little sparkles to my Christmas tree. Done. So there's 4 different images done with the little boy, and they're all very different character. Okay. Next up, let's take a look at Santa. Got a couple images of Santa here too. Here's a big deluxe card that's been done on a 5x7 card that's been covered with that Nouveau red mirror board. I put some little borders and corners from Starform around the edge in gold. I took my little book page and I mounted that on some gold mirror board. Put that right on top of the red mirror board. Added some sparkly ornaments to the tree, tied a pretty bow out of my crepe ribbon. And here's something else I want you to see in this one. Can you see? Hopefully you can see it here, honey. Am I getting too close for it to be clear? If you look, you'll see that I have used Flower Soft on Santa's hat band, on the little puff ball, on his cuffs, on his jacket, and on his pants, just for a little added dimension and something fun and different. It's very tactile when you touch it. It's just slightly rough, making it really fun and interesting and different. So Santa. Here's the same Santa image that's been cut down. And I took that Christmas Dreams frame. I cut the inside using the little frame out of the inside there. I tied a white satin bow, wrapped it around my cardstock before I attached my cardstock to my card. I actually intentionally left a white border around the outside just to bring some of the white back in. I put 3 little rhinestones here and here, and I have a little pearl that's trying to move from where it's supposed to be. I put little pearls in the centers of my snowflakes just for fun. Pretty. Here's the same Santa image. This one's been cut out of the Hunkydory Moonstone snow frame. I've taken an A6 card, I've covered it in that double-sided paper. I cut my frame, I glued it to my little book page. I put some gold jewel dazzles in the centers of my snowflakes on my frame. I added 3 extra little gold jewel dazzles here. I happen to have had a red Believe You could get this way. I happen to have pulled it off of one of my sheets of Never Before Seen Dazzles, but if I wanted to get that same effect, I could take a red alcohol ink pen or a Sharpie pen, and I could change the color of my silver sticker to get a red believe. There's my Santa. I didn't do anything else to it. I thought it was perfect just that way. But once again, here's 3 different views of the same image. And look at the differences in sizes. This one, it kind of creates almost an optical illusion that this image is huge. This one's in between, and this is just a little image. Well, it's just how it's been cut and framed. Santa. I love this one. I'm excited about these. Okay, here's my polar bears. I'll show you this one first. This one has been, I've got a 5x7 card I've covered in my double-sided paper. I took my Believe background with my polar bear. I added some sparkles to the trees and just a little bit of sparkle up around the word on the top. I cut myself some layers. My second layer, I cut the snow and a full snowman. So you can see that's really not difficult cutting. For my third layer, I took only the snowman. What? Oh, snowman, polar bear. I'm saying, sorry. It's a snow creature. It's my polar bear. Thank you, honey. Okay, so then I also made 2 extra layers of these Believe stickers. I cut out my letters. This was a little bit of fussy cutting. It wouldn't have been absolutely necessary, but I'm glad I did it because I like the way they turned out. And I used, on the first one, I used red Flower Soft. On the second layer up here, I've used kind of a candy cane. It comes out almost pink because it's a mixture of white and red. And I used the pink on the top layer. Tied myself a pretty crepe bow. And down here, I have completely covered my polar bear in the white Flower Soft. And then I didn't do anything with the red here. I cut a red cut this scarf off of one of my scrap sheets, and I covered that with my Flower Soft, and then I tucked it in to my white. But I have that wonderful dimensional card. You can see how large the foam squares I'm using are. It really gets a lot of added dimension, and it's only 3 layers, but I think it's really pretty.
So on your letters, the Flower Soft is sandwiched between the 2 layers?
There's red Flower Soft on the first layer
of letters.
And then there's a layer of letters glued to the top of those. And I'm glad you asked that question, because it leads me to tell you that when I put the Flower Soft on the letters, I actually then took my scissors and trimmed off the extra little bits of Flower Soft around the edges to give my letters a smooth view so that you could read them easily, because it makes your letters a little bit fuzzy when you put this fuzzy stuff on them. So then I took my scissors after they dried and I just trimmed off the extra little bits of Flower Soft to give me nice squared off letters again. But I think this turned out really fun. I'm going to tell you, this one took some time, but it was great fun to do, and I absolutely love the way it turned out. I forgot to line that one. There's that polar bear. You want an easier version? Here's an easier version. I used the snowflake frame. I cut it out. I covered my card in the double-sided paper from the magazine. I glued my frame over. I trimmed off the extra off of my little book page. I added a bow. It was done. So that was a quick and easy version of the same thing. But look at the differences between the two. And they were great fun to do both of these. Okay, next up we're going to take a look at that Christmas tree. I love this. It's just so pretty and it's fun to decorate with. You know, just stick your little jewel dazzles on there if you have any other little embellishments, tiny stars or whatever. It's just fun to decorate the Christmas trees. I put my season's greetings. In this case, I used those pearl stickers from Duty. They're called pearls. And made that chain around it, and I think that turned out really pretty. This is the Nouveau Mary behind here. Season's greetings. Now this next one I did something extra special with. Here's our Christmas tree again, and this time it's seen from outside the house through a frosty window. And this is what I promised I was going to show you using this chipboard piece. This is the frame to my window. Now it was too wide to go through my foiling machine all in one piece, so I cut it along the line here, foiled each side, and then reassembled it. And you can't tell on my finished card I did that at all. So I foiled my chipboard piece. I added a piece of Snowfall Mary to the back of it. I just glued it to the back of my chipboard. Then I took my glue and my glitter and I just made frosty windows. Just for fun, I filled these in. I'm not sure I would do that if I did it again because it ended up being a little bit messy around the stars, but that is what I did. And so I've got my frosty windows. Then I took my little book page, I glued that to the front of a 6x6 card, and I took a piece of white paper and butted it up against my little book page. If you look really closely here, you can see a joint. You would never notice it if I weren't pointing it out. But that's the edges of my little book page. There's another little one right here. And I took my Ranger ink pad and a sponge, and I sponged around with a light yellow. And part of what that did was make the differences between the little book page and my extra paper just go away, so that I had one nice continuous border around the outside. I decorated my tree. I fit my window over the top and glued it down. I trimmed my card off to be the size of my window. I used a little piece of mirror board here at the end and a leftover piece of border. I tied a nice crepe ribbon, put in the corner there, lined it, done. So you can see that while it started as a 6x6, it ended up slightly narrower. Could I have left it wider? Yes. But I thought that since what I was looking for was a window, that I would have to come up with a house color or something if I left the edges on it. Rather than having to come up with that, I just decided to cut my card down to the size of the window. But that's what I did with that one. Next up, here's that puppy I love. Here he is on the Christmas Dreams frame. As simple as it gets here. A6 card, piece of red cardstock inside, wrapped my bow around and fastened it on the back before I glued it on. Added a few pearls, done. It's just really simple, but how cute. Have a fun-filled Christmas. Here's the same card. This is done this time with the foiled classic frame. Little bit of mirror board behind that. On red cardstock with an ivory bow this time. That's it. From our home to yours this festive season, you can see that these trimmy inserts have a lot of nice sayings that you would actually want to add to your cards. So let's look at the differences in those again. So you get really nice variety depending on what you decide to do with them. 4 cards, 4 techniques. Next up, look at our angel. Now this one is made using one of my larger frames. And you can see that with the largest frames, it really kind of wanted an an A5 card, which is half of a A4. It really wanted a bigger card. I trimmed it down to fit a 5x7, but the mirror or the frame fits nicely over a little book page. Just tied a bow there, put it all on a ivory colored card. Here's another one, and I think it's just as effective trimmed down. Actually, I think I like this card better. And this is using that Christmas Dreams frame, the little frame cutting out my little book page. Once again, tying, this is an organza bow. I tied my organza bow, I secured it to the back before I put the cardstock down, so there's no ends showing. And just as simple as that, I think that's just as beautiful as it can be. And this time I just added the word joy to the inside. Here's those 2 elegant ladies. Here's that Christmas Dreams frame again. Look how effective that is. I mean, these little book pages, so many of them could be a much smaller image. You'll see a lot of them because I wanted to show you how small you could get those images cut down to. Use some gold jewel dazzles in the centers of my snowflakes, season's greetings, put it all on a piece of cardstock that's slightly smaller than the white card that it's on. I think this is a 4.5 by 4.5 card. Uh-oh. Okay, we all do it, guys. I think I'll be turning that one. Maybe I'll send that to my mother. She would get a good laugh out of that. That's funny. Okay. This is the card my daughter loves. This time, all I've done is taken the full little book page, put it on a piece of mirror so you can see how much border you get. I put that all on the double-sided paper out of my magazine, tied a matching bow out of my crepe ribbon, added a few accents, and the Merry Christmas. That's all it needed done. I didn't line that one. And once again, look at the differences in impression you get just by changing the presentation of the little book page. Next up, another one of my center stepper cards. Here's one that's done flat. This is done on a leftover piece of cardstock from one of my kits. I've cut it along. When I cut it right on the border. I took the leftover piece of border, I brought it over here and glued it down. I added a little thin line dazzle to kind of make it look the same as the other side. I put my Christmas Dreams frame, the word Noel, it didn't need anything else. I think that's very classy and pretty. I also think this one's classy and pretty. This time I've taken a gold piece of mirror board. I've covered my A6 card. I put my little book page. I cut it down to fit, but then I cut it a little bit extra and I put this yellow mat behind it because I wanted to brighten up that dark image, and I think this did it. Add an element of brightness all the way around in that bright kind of goldenrod bow. And I put my blessings sticker right over the top of the gold ribbon, and I think that turned out pretty. Christmas blessings and goodwill. 2 very different looks from the same topper. Next, here's our foxes. And you'll recognize the techniques. Here's that Christmas Dreams frame. These are some little embellishments I had in my stash. They're little flower jewels. They're just out of my stash, and that's something we carry in the store. Tied my ribbon behind my cardstock before I applied it. Made my cardstock slightly smaller than my card. Let the white show. I think that's just as pretty as it can be. Inside, I just used the Season's Greeting sticker. This was a silver sticker that I changed the color with a pen. Make it kind of that bronze tone to match my fox. Here's the same topper, foiled in silver. Move silver mirror board around it. This is another one that I've cut down. Used silver mirror board behind it, mounted that all on a red, and added a red bow. Sending warmest winter wishes. I thought it needed a warm wishes since this fox was wearing a scarf. Very different impressions, same image. I hope you're getting lots of ideas about how you can use, oops, here's still another fox. This time I've used, this is actually the snowflake frame, but because I cut it in green, it looks like vines. And since it looked like vines, I put red jewel dazzles. Tied a little organza bow, actually that's crepe, a little crepe bow. Added my Merry Christmas. This paper's out of my double-sided papers from the magazine. You can see I got a lot of cards out of those magazine sheets. 8 sheets of double-sided paper go quite a long ways. Okay. Here's the Christmas in the city, the couple enjoying a cup of hot chocolate while they're shopping. I foiled that. I put a bow. I just cut this little ribbon. I mean, I literally just cut a little half-inch strip, put a little notch in it, put a mini Merry Christmas there. This is some organza that I just had in my stash. We don't sell that one. Here's a thin line dazzle with those little star form corners on purple card. I've covered my 5x7 with purple, and then I cut my 5x7 down just slightly. So it's like 6.5 by 5. Season's Greetings. I wanted to show you, I'm not sure this is the very best example because I'm not sure how it's going to show on camera. It's pretty, but I hope it'll show on camera. This is an embossing folder that had Christmas bells and vines. So I just trimmed the solid piece out of the embossing folder. So stamping on it, I created a window from it. And I put my little book page behind it. I put all of that on a 5x7 card with a 5x7 piece of gray cardstock, some little thin lines around it, put a little bow on the base of my bells, and I just wanted to show you can use your embossing folders as well. Hope that shows on camera because it's pretty. Okay. I think I only have one of this one. Here is the Holy City, Bethlehem, and I have cut, let's see, I think I used 4 layers in total on this one. I used a 5x7 card, then I cut this pink to be just slightly smaller than 5x7. I put my little book page up on a Mary mat and glittered the base layer with just the star. I put the word joy here, and then I cut myself some layers of the buildings. My top layer has just the music in the very front. My next layer has just this, let's see, it has just one row of buildings. My next layer down pretty much has all of the buildings. And then I layered those up, put some foam squares between them, and I think that's a really pretty dimensional card. Very festive. Christmas blessings and goodwill. These are my daughter's favorite from this collection. She loves sloths. Here's the sloth hanging from his tree with his Santa hat. We've described the technique before, so I'm not going to go through all that. It's a 4.5-inch square piece of cardstock. A 5x5 would work just as well. Merry Christmas. Have a fun-filled Christmas on the inside. And here's one that I have layered. I've taken a 5x7 card. I've covered it in brown cardstock. I put my little, my base layer on a piece of gold mirror board. And then I cut out several layers, layered those with foam squares. So I have 3 layers in the snow here. The top, the outside layer just has the slope coming down this way. This one has both. This one, I guess it's just 2 extra layers. The foam squares here, 1 extra layer here. My sloth has 1, 2, the base layer plus 2. His hat has the base layer plus 2. Little ornaments, I just gave 1. And then I covered my snowflakes with silver jewel dazzles. Didn't that turn out cute? Little crepe bow at the top there. Have a magical festive season. I love this card. It's one of my favorites too. I'll show you Lauren's other favorite. It's another of my layered cards. Here he is, the festive llama. And once again, I have covered my 5x7 card in gray. And just inside the gray, I put a layer of orange. Then I've got my little book page. I have decorated all my snowflakes that are falling with jewel dazzles, even over the camel, the llama. And then I have layered up the different package layers, his scarf, his earmuffs. The entire llama is cut out once for my back layer. And then I have as many as 3 layers on some of the packages, but I think that's adorable. Put my bow right at the base of the packages. I love it. This is my favorite from the whole thing. It was great fun to do. Next up, let's look at some poinsettias and 3 very different techniques on the poinsettias. Here's one cut out using that poinsettia die set from Hunkydory. I cut the frame, and then I used the same die and I cut this little book page so that the little ruffle that's on the inside of the frame matches the ruffle on the outside of my little book page. I put that up on some foam squares. So it's just slightly elevated above my card base. Happy Holidays, a little piece of holly. I added some silver. This happens to be a gold sticker, but I cut down a little sticker and put in the center. I just used the scraps off the edges of the glitter sticker sheets to make little centers for my flowers. They're just little rough cut centers. It actually looks better if they're kind of rough cut than it does if they're round stickers. So there's that one. I think that's charming. This paper is the double-sided paper pack. I used the same double-sided paper on this one. On this one, I've taken my little book page. I have used my Flower Soft, and I've gone over the poinsettias, the berries, the holly leaves, and just given that a really soft finish. I tied a little blue bow to match the blue container from the poinsettias, put it all on some bright lime green Mary, and that's all up on some foam tape. So a very different look. Here's the same one done with glitter. This time I have used my double-sided paper. I've used a Mary mat behind my little book page. I have outlined this whole thing in my iridescent glitter for the flowers, and just put kind of just some little accents in the flowers with glitter. I've added red to my berries and my holly, some red glitter. Tied a little blue bow once again to match the vase that they're in. Done from our home to yours this festive season. Now there's 3 very different looks for the same image. Here limited only by your imagination, my friends. Looks like we have just 2 more styles here. Here's our Merry Christmas Santa and the North Pole signs with his penguin friends. I've cut this and layered it. 5x7 card. I cut it down to 6.5 by 5. Covered it in red Mary. I put my topper or my little book page on a Mary mat in silver. I added my little snowflakes in the background. I added my Merry Christmas, and then I started layering. I added just 1 layer to the little balls on Santa's jacket and his hat. I've added 2 layers to the penguins and the trees. You can use as many or as few as you like, but you can see just got a little bit of layering there. Then I added some dazzles to the tree, because you know me, I can't leave a tree undecorated. Have a fun-filled Christmas. That's that one. And finally we have the little girl on the staircase with the puppy. We have 3 very different cards from that. We have this one cut out of the moonstone dies. I just added the word joy and a ribbon. That's all I did. Oh, this is double-sided paper from the magazine. Here's the Christmas Dreams snowflake. I've added rhinestones around this one just for fun. I put a double line of stickers, and then I added 2 rhinestones in 3 places. Left the white border showing. And here's one that's a full-size foiled image. I foiled the little book page. I put it on some silver mirror board. I added that to a white piece of cardstock and let it come down further and put Merry Christmas here. Then I put a 5x7. I trimmed this down just slightly to let my white card show on the outside. And I put a gray mat here. So it's got a lot of mats. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 layers in total, but I think it's beautiful. And the little silver, this is the silver satin ribbon. It's really pretty. And it's funny that the silver is just a little bit heavier than some of the others, but it's pretty. It ties really nicely. So those are our little girls. 3 very different looks, 3 different colors of foiling. Okay, this is Debbie from Simply Special Crafts. I've shown you more than 40 cards. I think there's about 44 cards here, give or take 1 or 2. And we've made 40 plus cards with at least 7 different techniques using our little book of Christmas. And I still have all of these images left. I could make at least that many more, if not more than that. So little books can be a great way of being able to really stretch your card making dollar, particularly if you take a look at your craft stash and say, what do I already have that I can use to embellish these? If you want to supplement a little bit, we'll have those links in the newsletter for you. I will make sure that newsletter recipients get a link to every product that we've used in this video, or I will strive to do that. And if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, be sure to do that, because it will save you a lot of shopping time finding these products, because I'll send you all the links. The newsletter sign-up form is in the comments section right below this video, so you'll be able to find it down there. Just go ahead and click on that. It's a quick and easy process. You put in your name and your email address, and we'll send you the newsletter. For now, this is Debbie from Simply Special Crafts, and we'll see you next time.